and welcome. It's 7:30 at the moment and I only ventured into the garden about an hour ago. It has been so beautifully hot here lately. We're not used to it this early in the year. We're not used to it at any time of year, but certainly not in May. So the first job I was desperate to get done this evening was plant the remaining squash plants that I didn't get in about 2 weeks ago now. So that's it, they're in the ground. A quick scattering of mulch and a net to protect them till they get a bit bigger. And I don't need to worry about these anymore, I hope, fingers crossed. The squashies I put in 2 weeks ago are still faring extremely well, considering it's been so hot and dry. Even I have been surprised. They've not needed watering. And I don't want to start watering them if I don't have to. Not because I don't want to water, but because if I don't water them, they're more inclined to push their roots down nice and deep and find their own water, which will save me a lot of work throughout the summer. So I'm going to finish up with these squash, as I said, a coating of mulch and a net to protect them. Then I'm off into the polytunnel to get some plants in the ground in there as well. So the squash plants I put in the ground nearly 2 weeks ago now are settling in very nicely, especially as it's been such dry, hot weather. Looking like these potato plants could do with a second mulching as well. They're also coping incredibly well with this ridiculous warm, dry weather. I can only put it down to years of no dig and heavy mulching. My growing spaces thankfully seem to be holding on to some of that moisture, not releasing it all to the sunshine. The shallots I planted, however, are having a really harsh time. I'd expect them to be looking a lot better by now. They're all desperately trying to grow, but something keeps razoring off the tops. I don't know if it's birds picking at them, rabbits, deer. I've never had an issue with things eating onion before. Going to have to get some better netting set up for them. Little bit of meadow looking beautiful with all the oxeye daisies flowering. And a foxglove on the edge. There's a huge swathe of them. It's wonderful. They're really taking over this area.
Okay, finally into the polytunnel we go.
So here in the polytunnel, I've just planted those 6 extra sweet corn plants that I still had in pots the other week. My first row of sweet corn that were put in here well over a month ago are doing very nice, thick, strong, lush and green. And my new young plants that I've just transplanted into here are a little pale in colour, but other than that they're looking strong and healthy. A week or two in proper soil and they'll soon darken up. So now I've got 2 rows of sweet corn in the ground. No more messing around with pots. The next job is to plant some of my melon plants. Now last week when I was checking on my new sweet corn seedlings, still sitting in little 3-inch pots, I discovered I had 3 random plants growing amongst them, labelled as sweet corn. Now these are definitely not sweet corn. I knew when the seed leaves started appearing they weren't sweet corn, some sort of squash, cucumber, melon, I don't know. I'm suspecting some sort of a bluey coloured squash because the leaves are a dark greeny bluey tinged colour, but I'm not certain. And I have just noticed now, while gathering them together to show you, that these 2 have got this very pretty veining on their leaves and both looking the same, But this one has got a very different looking leaf. It's a slightly different shape, not quite as rounded as these. It's got that little pointy tip, and it doesn't have the blue veining. It is still quite a dark bluey colour though, not quite as dark as these. So I'm suspecting squash from my own seeds, but I'm not certain. I wish I knew what they were. I could guarantee where I wanted to plant them. If they're squash, I want them outdoors. They get too big in here and take over the place. But if it is a cucumber or a melon, I'd rather it was in here. I'm pretty sure it's not a melon. I've been quite good at labelling up my melons, I think. I don't know what they are. Any guesses? We should run a raffle, plant them, see what they grow, see what fruit we get. I think they're a squash, a winter squash. But maybe just for the next couple of weeks I might just put them in a bigger pot. They definitely want to be out of here. The roots are coming through the bottom on all of them. So a slightly larger pot. Give me a bit more time to think. There we go, all potted up into slightly bigger pots. I'm going to leave the sweet corn label in there. These can be the sweet corn squash for now. We'll see what they turn into. My third tent of squash are planted, mulched and netted. And a very last minute change of mind. I had one space left, so decided to plant one of the sweet corn squash right up the back where that white label is.
Now then, back to planting melons.
So we have the Emir F1 in the other tray. I've got a Minnesota Midget, a very popular YouTube melon. Melon Ananas, a Malaga, which is also an F1, and an Ogun. Now, they were a gift from my mum. I've got 2 Ogans that she planted seeds of, so I don't know what they're going to be like. Be interesting to see. So that's my melons. How many different varieties? With the Ogun, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 different varieties of melon. Hopefully something will succeed for me. Let's get some in the ground. Oh, gosh, this tray's heavy. Does it fit? Oh, perfect. Fits just nicely between my beds. Now I need my trowel though. That's over there. Now what I should have done is write extra labels. I have one label for each row of pots in my seed tray. Just like my squash plants, once I plant them in the ground, I'm not going to know what they are until they finally fruit. I'll know which varieties I've planted, so hopefully I'll be able to re-identify the fruit with a quick Google search, because they do all look slightly different. As long as it's a melon, ripe and delicious, doesn't matter what its name is. Let's get them in the ground. So where should we have? Well, one at the end. So just like all the plants I plant, I'm going to dig a hole, fill it with water, and let that water soak away. Then I'll put my plant in the hole. Here in the polytunnel, the top layer of soil is extremely dry and dusty. But once you get in a little bit, things get more moist and dark. Still lovely and crumbly, but have a bit of moisture to it. Once I start watering these beds regularly, They'll moisten up beautifully. That's a thought. If I tell the camera what I'm planting, I can write some labels and put them in tomorrow. So I have an emir going in my first hole. What else have we got? Gonna pop a Minnesota midget in there. They would probably do quite well in pots actually. Push that one up so we know what it is. One of my mums, the Ogun. Now that's got a label so it can keep it. An ananas. Ooh, there's a second seed popping up here. It looks melon-like, and I probably will have planted 2 seeds in each pot. So a late developer, that one. And then we've got a couple of bigger ones. The Malaga looks like a bigger plant. So I'm assuming it'll have bigger melons. I've got quite a lot of those. So I'm going to put 2 Malagas in at the end. I either had better germination or lots of seeds to start with on the Malaga. Having said that, I've got quite a few Minnesota midgets as well. Malaga in here. 2 Malagas, there and there. In we go.
Pop it in the hole, push the soil back around and gently firm it in.
Putting my fingers gently around the stem of the plant, hands to support the compost, tip it up, give it a pat, and hopefully out she'll come. In you go, midget. Grow well, my beauty. Oh, square pot. This is the Ogden from Mum. Ogden? Is it Ogden? Ogen. Not an Ogden, it's an Ogen. This is the pot that's got the extra seed germinating. We don't want to bury that seed. Hopefully it'll grow us another plant. Lovely, all in. Well, all of this rowing, I have lots more melons still to plant. So what I am going to do for these melons in the dry environment of the polytunnel is make a little trench in the soil next to the young plants. I'm also going to do the same on the other side so that when I water them I can pour lots of water into this trench and fill it up, and it can slowly soak in low down to the roots. That way when I'm watering, I'm not watering direct right tight up against the plant and disturbing it. I can water just a little bit away, lots and lots of water, and give it a real good soaking.
There we are, a lovely river of water. Give these plants a real good root soaking drink.
So I've got 4 Emir F1 melon plants. I'm going to keep one back and plant that into a bigger pot. And these 3 I'm going to put on the other side of this melony trellis. I'm only putting in 3, whereas I have 6 melon plants on the other side, because on this side I've already got some volunteer strawberry plants at the far end. Grew from runners last year. And they're looking very strong and healthy, so I'm just going to leave them there to carry on growing. Hopefully I might get a few extra strawberries as well. Now then, where's my trowel? On the other side, I think. Let's go and get it.
Just like the others, dig a hole, fill it with water and wait for it to soak away. Then I'm ready to plant my plants.
water soaked away, almost. 1, plonk, 2, 3. So much for being delicate. In you go. There we go. Push that around you. What are these? Emira F1. Forgotten already. Pull you up a little. There we go. And a watering trench. There we go. Well, it's now 9:15. I've been having a lovely happy time in the garden. Now the evening has cooled off, and I'm going to carry on playing until it gets too dark to see what I'm doing. I'm going to switch you off now though, because I think it might be getting too dim for good camera lighting. So bye for now, we'll see you next time. Nellie Moser, flowering by the light of the moon. Does have a flower on it all day long. Looks quite different in the dark though.
If you've enjoyed today's video, click that like button and let me know. Click subscribe and YouTube will make sure you see my next video. Bye for now and thanks for watching. And remember, whatever you're doing, have fun doing it.